such an asshole.
Hi, Aaron. Been a fan of yours for years. I'm a young man bachelor. Where have all the good men gone? And I moved from Kalispell, Montana to Butte, Montana last year for a pay raise at my company. I'm a guy who does a thing with the company, and I have a handsome salary. Let's just leave it at that. Pretty easy job overall, but I work the late night, and I won't give any more details than that because these are not big towns you live in. You could probably be identified. I took this opportunity because it was a significant raise in a much lower cost of living area, enabling a faster path to financial independence, i.e., paid off house, FU fund, etc. Butte has some great qualities, but I have a better social circle in Kalispell and overall like it up there more. Yeah, I'd say Kalispell is better. Butte, it's all right. I've been to both towns. Uh, I was going to say Kalispell might be a little colder, but now I think Butte's high up too. So I don't know if the weather's any different, but Kalispell is, I guess, in a prettier part. Is it worth postponing my medium long term financial goals to go back, or should I just make the best of my frugal minimalist lifestyle in Butte? I'm rooming with a buddy. My total overhead is $1,500 a month. I could pretty easily put away $1,000 a week into savings. To get back to Kalispell without taking a huge pay cut, I have to stay with the company. Basically, I have to wait for stubborn boomers up there to either finally retire or die. With the way Flathead area, that's where Kalispell is, has been, it's hard to predict if a house there will be 400,000 or $1,000,000 by that time. In Butte, there's okay houses to buy for around 200,000 right now. Is it more important to live in the optimal place or to get years ahead on my finances in a lower cost of living area? Well, let me introduce two things right now. One, if you're a minimalist and you're a bachelor, and assuming you're not going to have kids in the immediate thing, one of the benefits of being a minimalist is that you can afford the occasional luxury, or you can afford an aspect of your life you'd like to live. You were very young, and I said, well, how long is this going to kick you down if you were to go live back up? You say it's going to delay by 6 to 10 years. You're still, I know you 20 somethings don't think 30 is a young man. You're still a young man. And then at 30, you had at least around 40, 45, maybe even 50 years to live. I honestly, right off the bat, gut punch, I'd go back to Kalispell. You're not going to need. It is a very common for you fire guys or early retirement extreme to really lose the long-term goal and benefits of being minimalists. Being a minimalist allows you freedom. Like, I would look at it this way. Okay, 6 to 10 years for you to retire and have a micro FU or a significant FU fund. You're still going to be in your 30s on the long end of that. Why would you deprive yourself of living in that area when you can still achieve that goal in relatively short order, knowing compared to everyone else, most people never have enough money to retire? Then you introduce the aspect of buying into the property market up there. This, you could kind of hedge it if you bought in a Butte now. The two housing markets would more or less parallel each other. I don't believe they're too separate geographically or economically. So if your prices went up in Butte, you would have the gunpowder to buy a house in Kalispell, or you would have been hedged against housing inflation in Kalispell. But as I've said before, okay, you want to live in Kalispell, like that's your long-term goal, and it is. Why don't you just go buy the land? Why don't you go buy a plot of land? You don't need the house right now. But if you want to stay in Butte, buy a house that you live in, and then maybe down the road sell that in 6 to 10 years, and then go and you should have enough gunpowder and purchasing powder to buy a modest home. And that's another thing. You're a minimalist. You don't need some big house in Kalispell. You just need a house. You need land and a little bit of a house. And so I'd investigate that to see if you could even buy a little bit of land right now in Kalispell. or stick around in Butte, make your money, and then, you got a piece of land in mind. Can you start saving up the money to buy that piece of land? Live with your buddy, save some money. But right now, if your worst case scenario is 10 years, it will delay me 10 years. That's 10 years you get to enjoy your life, especially your youth. You're up closer to Glacier if you're interested in hiking Glacier. That's the benefit. You forfeited a truck, bro. You forfeited a luxury car. You forfeit a lot of things. Why not go live where you want so you have the freedom to do it? You get all the same pension and health benefits here. Oh, wait, I skipped ahead to your. Let me get back to your original request. Is it more important to live in the optimal place or to get years ahead on my finances in a lower cost living area? Also, what do you think about my graveyard shift? Should I suck it up for the cushy money, healthcare, and pension fund, or is it simply impossible to avoid the drain that this lifestyle brings and perhaps go the Chad Elkins route? I do. While you're young, you're a young man, do the graveyard shift, get your extra money, build up some powder, and then go buy a plot of land where you want. I did graveyard on and off. Well, technically I did it for decades, but longest stretch I did was about 2 years solid. And then it starts to work on you. It starts to drain you. So while you're down there in Butte, keep working your job, save your money. But then I'd spend some time looking at property. That's what I'd be doing on weekends. Is like, all right, where do I find some property? Where's the water table? Where can I really start doing your research and see if you can't buy land up there. Do the, put a trailer on it. Not to say that you should become like your Wyoming brethren, but man's got to live. So I said, well, where do you want to live permanently or at least long term? Also, how long will working in Kalispell delay? And do you not get a pension or health care if you work in Kalispell? It's much easier to see myself permanently in Kalispell. Butte is more of a mixed bag, but I have good friends in both places. So at least I have it narrowed down to those two towns. You're already ahead of everyone else, knowing that you got where you want to live till you're dead by your 20s. Kalispell will always win on beauty, but you could be a good launch point to get some cool spots that are generally less busy than the Glacier area. Yeah, and you could always sell your place in Butte and go buy something somewhat nicer over in Kalispell. I estimate 6 to 10 years setback if I'm looking to have a fully paid off house for the bare minimum overhead expenses in the future. But that's only if houses there continue to be $250,000 more on average than Butte. The range is depending on how much a pay cut I get and how much the eventual house will cost compared to its Butte equivalent. Staying a renter there is also tricky. The growth of the Flathead area since the disease has made it a white-hot renter's market as well, probably going to my current $600 in utilities and rent to $1,200 a month, all in if I can find a place with a friend up there. I get all the same pension and healthcare benefits at Kalispell, this whole side of Montana. Yeah, I would work and save some money in Butte. Keep your eye. I'm assuming you could transfer at any time if you're willing to take a pay cut in Kalispell. Work in Butte. Save your money. Like a hawk, watch the property market in Kalispell. If you can find a piece of land that you can buy that you would build on later, you're not going for the big house. Buy it. Then build up some money in Butte. And then because you guys are Montana boys, you guys aren't like those pussy weakling pussy weakling women who pose as men in New York and California. You guys actually might know how to build something. Find your sober friends and go build a cabin. Go build or find yourself a trailer and then move out to Kalispell. That's what I'd be looking at, buy the land, build my own damn house. And you might be able to get away with it in Montana because there's not a lot of liberal white Karens. They're like, oh my God, we can't have normal people affording houses and building homes. The ones that we don't like, it must be 8 bedrooms and 6 baths. All right, there we go. Link below is my book, Reconnaissance Man. He doesn't need the book. He already knows where he's living. Squishy Plums, $5. Kalispell is nice but pricey, but Butte is cheaper with a nice name. I recall Butte having instead of like a line, Like the main road went through and the town just built up, elongated along it. Butte was very square. And I remember there being a ton of bars and restaurants in Butte. All right, there you go. We'll see you guys later. Toodles.